Back and okay, I'm gonna start here. One thing I'm gonna mention real quick: inside my house is a chemical smell. Through the last several years, I've mentioned this on and off that these criminals that have underground access to this home. Remember Ricky Ronaldo said he'd been in the tunnels on my home. The multiple people said there's tunnels and stuff here, and all the burglar alarms going off, and the proof and the reports to the police of people breaking my house. Well, one thing they do is set off some I don't know what it is. It's some kind of chemical, and it basically it makes you sick, and it's hard to breathe. And so that's what I'm living through right now. I've made videos about that before, but that started last night. I don't know why. Maybe it was a retribution because of a Facebook post. Maybe we're getting close to them finally going to prison for these capital crimes, that they're committing, because they're literally rigging homes with underground access, breaking into private homes. They're killing people to steal property is what they're doing. This is all about money. These are thieves. These are cold-blooded killers, and they got some of the dirtiest cops that you can even imagine. And that's really what this Facebook post is about. Okay. Was a cover-up going on in late 2014. Two secret police die. A mystery sudden leak cable is disconnected, and a live tree is removed. When I do these little colorful deals, it's kind of like a tweet. You only got so many, words you can use in there, because there was a lot more that happened. But I had to keep that short. So I did it chronologically. I started with the dates. And here I said on June 29, 2014, a still unnamed doctor was seen in front of my home is suspected of being Dr. Gattiselli that was later murdered in 2015. And I'm going to show you this, okay? The reason I took this picture, okay, and here was the date, 6/29/14, and this was right in front of my house. He's actually parked in front of the next door neighbor's house. That's where that suspected tunnel entrance was at. That's been removed, and you can see he's wearing scrubs. Okay, he looked like an Indian guy. He's driving a dark green Jaguar. So that how many people have a dark green Jaguar? And there was a white dog in the back, and and he was so suspicious. Remember, at this time, I'd been told by the ex-wife in 2011, the secret is a group of doctors are killing people for profit. And then here's this doctor from my house. Of course, I've got all these, survived a murder attempt, all these non-stop crimes going on here, etc. And then multiple people have told me that this guy right here is this guy right here, Dr. Gattiselli, that was murdered in a murder-suicide over in Odessa in 2015. Okay, a year later. And so then that's the question was this was one of the doctors. And also, if I've done videos on this, that he was being investigated for a type of money laundering by the feds at the time, And so the main thing here, but I'm looking at the timeline on 2014, was a cover-up going on. The cover-up of the premeditated capital murder attempt in my life happened in 2012, and of course, leading back into the young girl being murdered in 2010, and then in 2008, the previous homeowner died, etc. Okay. Next one, dated, okay, because these are timestamped. And okay, on 9/22/14, Suddenlink shows up to disconnect the mystery coax cable that is going underground behind my home, and suspected of feeding the underground facility. Okay, so this is right out of my backyard. There's that telephone pole right here, okay? There's a cable that comes down, and so it's straight to Suddenlink. Two Suddenlink trucks show up, and we know it's in September 22nd, 2014. I go out there and talk to them, and what are y'all doing? Well, we got a disconnect notice for this coax cable. Well, I had already made a video and posted it on Facebook and talked about that coax cable, because it goes underground. It's buried. It's going underground, and the cables feeding the house go above ground. And then Home Depot had already told me multiple times that they don't have Suddenlink at their building. They didn't go to their building, so it goes underground. So it's suspected that this coax cable was feeding the underground facility. Now, in this section of the yard, remember that Google Maps is now showing where there's a large facility in my backyard over here that's not seen from above ground. I got multiple people saying there's underground facility, etc. So it's actually still there, but somebody was paying for it, because Suddenlink got a disconnect notice to disconnect it. And the main thing is the timestamp. So in June we have have the mystery doctor shows up, right, at the house with the suspected tunnel entrance. And then here in September 22nd, suddenly gets a disconnect notice. Okay. And then here on 10/9/14, that's just the next month, Midland deputy Mike Naylor alleged to have died in the line of duty. Okay, we found out in 2018 that he was the second secret police seen arriving at my home shortly after I had called out. Okay, and I just put a link to the Midland Reporter Telegram news story about the Naylor dying in the line of duty. He was out there serving a warrant, and so. I can't remember. Higgins was the name of the guy. Supposedly shot him, and then you had multiple law enforcement officers out there that supposedly witnessed it. But then the questions asked because through all this happening and we naming the highway after him and he's a hero, nobody told you that Naylor was caught on camera at my house minutes after I survived murder. He was following John Woodward into my home, okay, minutes after I had crawled out after being ambushed and shot. Well, don't you, that's pretty important news, right? And that makes him one of the secret police involved in the capital attempted murder. Well, there's a lot of people that thought highly of Naylor, that he was a good guy. And then so the question's been asked, what if Naylor was going to go report what he knows about the underground facility, about the murder attempt in my life? Would all them other secret police, right, this large gang of them, would they give them motive to kill him, cover it up, right? And here's O'Higgins, he's 8 against 1. He's looking at the death penalty. What's he going to do, right? When you have a whole bunch of cops that are ganging together to lie and do like what they did to me at my home, model citizen here, these are evil, dirty cops. I mean, that's all there is to it. These secret police are. Okay, so but the date's important. Okay, October. Okay, so we went in June, and then they disconnect the sudden link. And then next month, the secret police just happens to die, and we just happened to keep it out of the news that he was a secret police, right? Well, on 2 months later, on 12/15/14, Midland K9 police officer Chad Simpson alleged to have murdered his wife, killed himself, leaving 2 baby orphans. We found out in 2018 that he was the secret police seen inside my home on 12/29/12 wearing the Midland K9 police jacket. Okay, and once again, I'll link to, and you can Google these. That's how I found them. These are news stories, and showing. Okay, and so here's Chad. And so he took his gun and he murdered Sandra and left them 2 babies orphans. Once again, kind of like Naylor, a lot of people thought that Chad was a pretty good guy. I mean, what turned him into a killer, and a murderer, and decided to murder his wife, And but what was never made public because the press and the police have been hiding the facts from the public. And so we didn't know until 2018, or it wasn't confirmed, that Chad Simpson was one of the secret police inside my home. And that was caught on a camera that they had tried to disable. They stayed secret for 6 years with a reward offered. Okay? This wasn't they just accidentally made the mistake and didn't fill out the report. They were caught, busted. You can't get any more busted. They're hiding like criminal cowards, right? But what if Chad Simpson here was going to do the right thing and says, hey, I want to testify. Here's what happened to Mr. Webb. He was ambushed and shot in his home. There's an underground facility. They murdered the last homeowner. They murdered that little girl. Wouldn't that give all that other dozen secret police motive to kill him? Right? Okay. And another thing that I told somebody, I know his family. He's from actually my hometown. Both of them are from Hobbs, New Mexico. And even Naylor was married to a woman from Hobbs. See the link back to my hometown. his aunt told me that the Rangers said, well, there's a camera watching the house and nobody went inside the house, And, and as I've told other people, I have absolute 100% proof that they're hacking security cameras. I have a video called Proof of Security Camera Hacking. The other thing is we know homes all across Midland, Odessa have been reporting people in the attic, and that's believed they're coming from under the home, rigging the home. What if this home is rigged? And so then you wouldn't see anybody going to the home, okay? And so, we're not saying somebody murdered Chad and Sandra Simpson to cover up for the secret police being caught on camera in the Capitol murders of my life, but we're asking the question because what are the odds of two secret police dying in 2 months of each other? I think we need to start asking these questions, and it's been the obstruction of justice because some other secret police should have been arrested a long time ago. Okay, moving on the time frame here. Sometime between 10 to 14, okay, and that's all in 2014, and 4/28/16, a live tree is removed from behind my home in the Home Depot store, okay. This tree was set next to two side-by-side manholes, a suspected tunnel entrance. Also removed was another suspected tunnel entrance that was seen on Google Earth pictures in the backyard of the east neighbor, okay? And I've got a video called Tunnel Entrances that shows that, okay? And this is just using two Google Earth. Google Earth lets you do historical pictures, so they're dated. You can see the dates. So, a plane flies over on September 2nd and takes this picture, okay? And so what we see on that date is the tree is there, okay? And we see this suspected tunnel entrance in the backyard, okay? So we know in September 2nd, 2014, that's what it looked like, okay? And then the next dated time picture was in April 28, 2016, and they took that live tree out. And that live tree sat next to that telephone pole that had the Suddenlink cable go down, and it also had two side-by-side manholes that was suspected of one of them being connected to a tunnel going over to my house. And they were running, it's believed they were running at the time, running like a sex trafficking business. People in the attic here, truckers pull up, they go over here via tunnel, they do their job, they come back over here. And this is going on 24/7. So it's like a truck stop here. And then that literally was going on for years, they were running a business out of here, racketeering, and I'm sure it's a money-making deal. The other thing is at the same time, this has been removed from the backyard, okay? And I have other dated pictures because you can see it was put in before I moved here around the time that Mike Lawhon died, okay? And then because I'm posting pictures of it and posting pictures of this and I'm on Facebook, all of a sudden it's like a cover-up, okay? And when, a live tree was taken out, it's believed that they were disconnecting all that because I literally had pictures of one of the two side-by-side manholes. They left the cover off for a couple years. I had a picture of it, sent it to the chief of police, Robinson at the time. Okay, and so, and let's go on the next post, okay. If Mike Naylor, Sheriff Deputy Mike Naylor, and or Chad Simpson was going to testify about their part in the Capitol murder attempt on my life, or even the murder of the young girl at the 2010 Ulster party, or even Mike Lawhon, then that would give the other secret police motive to kill them, right? Do we all agree with that, right? We found out in 2018 both Naylor and Simpson have been caught on camera at my home, but their names were not found on the police report. If this is the case, then that means we have some cop killers out there, okay? And so there's the question right there this come right from Empire Private Investigation. Now remember, at this time there was a $2,000 reward. I had sent their pictures to the sheriff, the chief, to the police department, to the mayor, the city council, the attorney general, district attorney. I told them that there's a $2,000 reward. The mayor could have collected the reward, and the police report to the mayor, right? Because at the time we had pictures of a police, no report, so I didn't know if they were police. They could have been criminals dressed like police. But once Empire Private Investigation gets involved, then we know they are police. Rosa Rodriguez, April Chandler, Tony Dickey, Greg Chatwell, Greg Nelson, Marty Barrett, Chad Simpson, no longer alive, Mike Naylor, no longer alive, Mark Gilliam, Michael Glick, John Woodward. Now, and John Woodward was a Martin County Sheriff first to show up. Now he's a convicted felon, okay, just as of recently. Okay, once again, It's just very odd that two secret police and the policeman's wife dead, all connected to the crimes here, multiple murders and the capital murder attempt in my life. And if they were going to testify, okay, wouldn't that give any of the other ones motive to kill them? Because we all know that you don't cross the blue line of corruption. If one of these dirty cops wants to break into homes to steal and kill people and steal their property, his peer better not say anything or their life's in danger, because we know how that works. That's how police corruption works. Okay, and so here, I come under this right here. My outside cameras were disabled a few minutes after I crawled out, and the log file shows an attempt was made to disable the bedroom camera that caught the secret police covering up the premeditated murder attempt of my life. But even with their pictures, I couldn't get them identified, and I couldn't get a news story in the nation. And if you notice, one of them pictures, Rosie Rodriguez and April Chandler are seen planting my stolen phone that was stolen right before I shot, and my stolen cell phone. And seen searching drawers, etc. But remember, we had pictures. They tried to disable the camera, couldn't get them identified. 4 years after being shot and left for dead inside my own home. And remember, triple proof shows I wasn't shot with my gun, so somebody come to my home and shot me. I sent this email to law enforcement and elected officials, but it was still 2 years later before the secret police were identified. And that was by a private investigator that was paid. Okay. There was a very good reason they were hiding, and it might be the same reason that two secret police are not dead. Okay, so we're asking, so this is actually the email that was sent here. I'm going to show you the date. Okay. It was sent on January 4, 2016. Now remember, the secret police are caught inside my home on a camera they tried to disable January 29, 2012. Of course, Naylor and Woodward were seen on January 28th, right after I called out. And so I said, reward, $2,000 reward for information. And I give all the history and the facts and all this. But I want to show you who this sent to. This thing went to the entire Midland City Council. Note off, she's the current district attorney, and she got this, okay? And so Lacey, he's running for the Congressman Conaway's place right now. Lacey is. Jeff Sparks, he already retired. I bet he knows something. Morales is the mayor, okay? Love another city council, Dufferin City Council, Hotchkiss City Councils, Robnett City Council. Price Robinson was the chief of police. Gary Painter was the sheriff. He died recently, okay? It went to the New York Times. It went to Ken Paxton, the Texas Attorney General. It went to Inspector General Michael Horowitz, because remember, Conway, suggested I contact the Inspector General, right? And that's what the OIG, that's the Office, the Inspector General Hotline. The Texas Rangers, right? The world famous Texas Rangers, right? And then the verification here, TMB, that's the Texas Medical Board. So now you can see how many people knew about the corrupt police. In 2016, they can't deny it, right? And that was 4 years after I was shot and left for dead in my own home, okay? And it was still 2 more years before they were identified. I just created a movie yesterday, The Secret Police Murder. You should go check that out. It's more talking about Chad Simpson, and it shows the facts more in depth on that. Okay. 2 law enforcement officers and a policeman's wife are now dead with direct connections to the premeditated capital murder attempt of my life, and most likely the capital murder attempt of the last summer, as well as the young girl at the 2010 Old Show party. Okay. We must look at the possibility that the secret police murdered Chad Simpson, Sandra Simpson, and or Mike Naylor. We can be sure they were caught on camera at my home and were identified 6 years later. So that's what we know is the secret police hid for 6 years. That's a fact. There wasn't no accident. They didn't forget to put their name down. There was a $2,000 reward, and their pictures were sent all around the world. Okay. And they were never planning on getting caught. They tried to disable the camera that caught them. Okay. And now we got 2 law enforcement officers and the policeman's wife dead. And then the questions being asked here, if old Simpson was gonna, maybe he went to his supervisor and said, I want to turn state evidence and he's going to testify against the other secret police. Well, they caught wind of it, and they stopped that. Or maybe not. Mike Naylor did the same thing. Is that it says hey, no, we can't be breaking into the home of good citizens and shooting them by surprise, cutting them up in pieces. I can't be a part of that. And so it cost them their life. And then Sandra Simpson was just added on with Chad. So, this should be national news story right here. And that shows you that the press and the police working together to cover up capital crimes against citizens here in Midland, Texas. You should tell your friends about it. It's very important.